Hi, I'm Amber de Mundo. Wait. I don't have my sunglasses on.
Good
And my
job, man.
sunglasses on. Like I said, I'm Amber de Mundo, your one and only man of world. I'm also the chief operating officer of Zelda Universe. And who else is here?
I'm Shona, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Zelda Universe.
See, we all have fancy titles here.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here. Let me class out with hi, I'm Tessie. I was a former mod of Zelda Universe and Legends Place.
Yay!
And right now you are nothing, right?
No, she
Apparently
is
I'm site
now
staff, so that makes me something.
Yeah, you're a podcast person. So
Yes.
Chief
I'm
Podcast
a
Officer.
yes, I am a chief podcast officer for Zelda Universe now.
we are here today to talk about Nintendo and Zelda, specifically Wind Waker. This podcast is going to cover, we are going to cover the most recent news and stuff. Not because we have Zelda news videos, so it's not going to be like that. It's just going to be, we're going to have a more in-depth podcasty talk about recent topics. But of course, if they're on them, because sometimes there's just big periods of nothing new going on with Zelda, and then we'll just talk about, other Zelda things like timelines or, whatever.
I think there's a lot of Zelda stuff that will keep us going.
Oh
Oh
yes,
god,
definitely. I
yeah.
mean,
So
we kept the audio podcast running for like years, so we won't have any problem with that. So today we are going to talk about we're going to talk about Nintendo's I guess you can call it new E3 approach, and then we're also going to talk about changes that we expect or like to see in the Wind Waker for the Wii U. So there was recently a Nintendo Direct, and nothing much new was revealed. Uh, but they talked a bit about E3, and they're gonna have a Nintendo Direct for E3, and you know Nintendo was recently, I guess, kind of in a bit of a controversy because they said that they wouldn't have I guess a classic or
Like their
proper,
keynote
if you want to call it that,
presentation.
a keynote presentation exactly.
Yeah, I know a lot
And
of
instead
people
they're going to
were
have
upset
an
about
E3.
that.
Well, I mean, me personally, I think that there's a lot of value in just going out and talking to people directly, having one of these big keynotes. For one, you get a bit closer to your audience,
mhm.
and also I think a lot of people when they watch these keynotes, like they watch all the keynotes or as many as they can.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people who wouldn't normally be interested in Nintendo, they would still watch the Nintendo conference because it's like a thing. You marathon the conferences.
Mhm.
And I think the conferences get a lot of press too.
Mm.
I don't know, maybe Nintendo can pull it off. And if so, good for them. I remain skeptical though.
Yeah, because E3 is like a really big deal, and if they're not going to be there, then it's just going to be more it's going to be more coverage for Sony and Microsoft and Ubisoft. Like
Yeah,
they're not
I
going to
mean,
get that much publicity.
I think it might
I think
depend on the scale of these directs that they're planning to have. I mean, maybe if it's not quite as
exactly.
big and grand as one overall keynote, but if they had, maybe two or three that were maybe half the sort of presentation, maybe that would still be okay.
Hmm.
maybe. The thing about the Nintendo Directs, as they are now, that I don't really like is, um, like we saw with the Nintendo Direct that was recently this Friday. It was like I said, there wasn't that much new information revealed. But in the Nintendo Direct before that, we had the reveal of A Link to the Past 2, which was pretty big.
Mm.
So it's like you never know with these Nintendo Direct. Like sometimes they're really big, sometimes they're not, and it seems like a lot more difficult to build up hype for these Nintendo Directs because you don't know if they're going to be good or not.
Hmm.
Whereas with the keynote, I mean, sure, with Nintendo's E3 Nintendo Direct, I'm sure they're going to be hyped up because we know
Yeah,
there's going to
I'm
be a
not
lot of
worried
good
about
Yeah.
content.
that.
But still, like with Nintendo Directs in general, it feels like should I watch it? Should I not watch it? Is it going to be important? Is it worth staying up for? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
So yeah, I'm not 100% on Nintendo Directs being like serving as a replacement for things like keynotes. And I think also like even if Nintendo wanted to take a different approach, like they could still hold like a Nintendo Direct live in front of an audience and solve it that way. I don't know. I'm just color me skeptical.
Okay, I actually feel quite positive about it. I think that they'll be pretty big.
I hope so. I mean, I think we all do because we don't want Nintendo to fail.
Yeah.
No, I mean, imagine if they fail. That would mean no Zelda games, and that would be like the worst thing ever.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, let's. There was another thing that they talked about. That Reggie talked about. He said that they would be partnering up with Best Buy in the U.S. and Canada to make some of these unreleased games like available for demoing at some Best Buy locations. And I really like that. Now I'll
See,
be going to E3, so it's gonna be no difference for me really. But if I wasn't going, I would be living in well, I am living in Sweden, and I would be in Sweden, and I still wouldn't be able to play these games because it's only in the U.S. and probably
see, that's
mostly in the
actually
U.S.
kind
and
of
only
like
some parts in Canada.
that's actually kind of like a big problem for me because in my current area of New Brunswick, we don't have a Best Buy. So I can't actually go and play these demos. So I like in order for me, the nearest city, like the nearest big city is Montreal, and they have a Best Buy. So for me to actually like want going to play these demo games is going to be hard.
Yeah,
So
but
it's actually
still, I
kind of
mean, yeah,
it's sort of like a win, like it's sort of like a win-lose situation because not a lot of people in my part of the country is actually going to be able to play these demos.
right. Then
So
again, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be able to play them, and I think just because we see these demos being played by the media and such, and we get excited and holy shit, I would want to try that.
Hmm.
And now you actually can in some cases,
Yeah,
and
if you're
this
in
is the
North
first
America,
step.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
but this is the first step too. This is the first time they're doing it, so I think they're gonna probably expand it if it's successful, and I'm
hopefully.
pretty sure it's gonna be successful because with Nintendo games, I mean, I think they rely a lot on just the joy of playing it. I mean, because Nintendo, while a lot of people enjoy the games, they're not portrayed as cool. It's not like the gaming media is exploding with excitement when they see the next Mario 3D game anymore.
Hmm.
Uh, so I think I really think that this way Nintendo can get a lot more people excited for their games because
Yeah,
Mario games, they're gonna look like a lot very similar to before, and there's not gonna be a lot of cool like awesome explosions and a lot of action that's gonna make people excited. It, but they're really fun to play. That's what Nintendo games are all about, and I think just giving that hands-on experience to more people, it's it's a great thing.
yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you're right that the press do tend to give attention to other developers and other publishers now. And this might be one of those cases where the social media and social communities come into play, word of mouth marketing, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then of course we have the other, the other side of the coin where Nintendo is like seemingly uh, stopping Let's Players from profiting of their Let's Plays,
Well, just
Hmm.
and in that
anyone that
sense, kind of
uses
limiting
Nintendo
the
content in
social.
their videos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But in that way, it feels like they're kind of limiting that exposure.
That's very true. Yeah.
that
So
yeah.
I don't know. It feels like Nintendo, like they're kind of getting it, but not real. I don't
Like
know.
they're there, but they're not. That's the
Yeah,
thing. They're getting to like if they're kind of closing us off. Like they want to introduce all these new games, but at the same time they're just all like you can have these games, but you can't put them somewhere else.
yeah.
And it's
It's
Yeah.
sort of
And it's just a shame because Nintendo seem to have been a fairly big supporter of fans and what they do for such a long time. So it does feel
hmm
like a step backwards now.
It really
Yeah.
is.
But that's, I guess, the thing with Nintendo. I mean, they always do these things where they do some really cool stuff and then friend codes, what?
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, that's Nintendo for you, I guess. It just, I don't know. I guess we'll see how it works, but I
Yeah.
think I'm 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 really liking their intention of trying to put E3 out there to the people and not just to small group of exclusive press.
Yeah, I'm
So
with you there. Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
so let's hop on to the next topic, which is well, the Wind Waker for the Wii U.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
So you're a little bit excited
The-
about it, are you, Tess?
I wouldn't say I'm excited about it. I just honestly, Wind Waker isn't my favorite Zelda game. I don't know. I didn't like the toon shading.
Boo!
Yeah, I know. I suck.
Boo!
I really
Well,
suck.
you know what's funny? Speaking of the toon shading, in some ways, I think Wind Waker is probably one of the least deserving games that needs a HD update, because the cell shading actually holds up really well compared to something like Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time, or I'd say even Twilight Princess.
Yeah. Like it's colorful, it's bright, it's meant to be fun, but I don't know. When they released like Twilight Princess shortly afterwards, I wanted those were the graphics I would expect from a Zelda game for Twilight Princess. Now, on the other hand, Wind Waker was just part of sort of too kiddish for my liking.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I'm an adult. I like my adult games, and Twilight Princess was a step forward for me. Meanwhile, Wind Waker was sort of
Hater
a step
comments
back.
go. Hater comments
Yeah, it's
go.
funny
I'm just
because
all hate.
yeah, I actually remember the controversy that erupted when Wind Waker was first announced. I think it was about
Yeah.
2001 when that trailer came out after they'd shown a more realistic looking, demo of Zelda on the GameCube, and then all of a sudden it was this like 180-degree switch to cel shaded graphics, and a lot of people were not happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm curious to know as how Nintendo kind of determines which game needs or deserves a remake, because yeah, Wind Waker holds up great.
Mm.
Like
So
there's
you
other
say like
games out there
visually,
that
yes.
actually like need a remake. For example, everybody knows this, Majora's Mask. We need
Yeah,
Majora's Mask. Like it's only
but
been
Yeah.
10 years since Wind Waker has been actually out.
Yeah.
Majora's Mask
But
has been out
how do you
longer.
make that criteria though? And that's what I want to know. How does Nintendo make that criteria? Because here's a game that's been out for a long time, hasn't been getting any remakes, and is visually outdated.
Mm-hmm.
Legend of Zelda, the original game.
Yes, I would
Uh,
love to have a remake of that
Oh, that
somehow.
would be so cool.
yeah, like you can put that in a 3D world and it would be completely different and it would be awesome.
Yeah.
And you can add so much new content like NPCs. There was like 2 NPCs in that game.
Yeah, and they're like,
Uh,
buy
Yep.
something, will ya?
yeah.
Let's play money making game.
It's a secret
um,
to everybody.
so it's interesting. I want to really know if I could ask Anuma or Mimaru or whoever anything about the Wind Waker Wii U. It's like, why this game? How do you determine which games serve a remake? Um,
Yeah,
but
so
I think with the Wind Waker, what they because yeah, I agree with Taz when she says that it doesn't really need a remake from the visual perspective. But I think what they did, and keep in mind that we've only been seeing a couple screenshots. Some people like it. I like it. I think it looks amazing.
Like
Some
it
people
looks
think,
amazing, don't get me wrong.
yeah,
Like the
I
HD,
agree.
like it's amazing. But I
hmm,
don't know. I'm not expecting like it was just released 10 years ago. At least give it another 5 years before
doesn't
they
that make you
actually
feel
go
old
and
though?
remake it. What?
Doesn't that make you feel old though?
Oh, shut up. I'm only 21. I'm 21 next week. Don't rub it in. Oh my god.
Happy
Yeah.
early
Well,
birthday.
I thank you, Shona.
So, if we're all in agreement that it's not, really in need of a remake visually, do you think that Nintendo will use the chance to make some other changes to the game?
I'm seriously
no.
hoping.
I'm hoping and I want to, but I don't think they're
Yeah.
gonna go there. They didn't really
Yeah.
go there with Ocarina of Time. I don't think they're gonna go there with with Wind Waker.
I don't know. I mean, the thing
One
is
part is
with the sorry.
well,
Yeah. I'll go because I was going to
okay,
say, okay, so we've got
yes,
the new hardware with the Wii U and the GamePad, and I'm thinking of certain things in Wind Waker that maybe I didn't like so much, such as the sailing, and I think that Nintendo
Yeah.
really improved on that with Phantom Hourglass, which was the sequel to Wind Waker. And with that,
disagree.
Yeah.
well, okay, what I enjoyed was the fact that you could use the DS to plot the route, and then the ship would
Yes.
just go off on its own way, and you could happily shoot cannonballs at seagulls or whatever you were doing. So I'm really hoping that they might improve on that with the take advantage of the gamepad for the Wii U.
See, I actually saw there was the other night I was actually up until like 2 a.m. watching we like demos. It wasn't like somebody had actually modded Wind Waker to the Wii U, and they were using the stylus to walk around and stuff like that. So it automatically make me think of Phantom Hourglass, where you
Hmm.
were able to like use the stylus. But then I just kind of started thinking if they use the stylus to start walking around, that's going to be a bit of a pain. Because I found in like Phantom Hourglass that like you had to stroke to use the sword. It was
Yeah,
just it wasn't all that appealing to me. I'd rather just use the A and B buttons and then the other triggers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like
think that's something that it won't work that well in a
yeah.
full kind of 3D game.
Yeah, I mean, Phantom Hourglass was still
It
mostly top down.
This
yeah.
is true.
So I don't, and also keep in mind that you will be able to play just on the you'll have whatever the function is called, where you only play on the off the TV and
Yep,
you play on the
yep,
gamepad.
that's true. Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go for stylus controls or anything. Uh, and but you made a pretty good point there, Sean, about using the gamepad, and I think that one of the reasons that they wanted to release this game in particular was because they probably did a lot of things, just experimentation, for the next Wii U game. And we know this partly with the graphical style, because they said that in the Nintendo Direct from January when they announced the game, that they experimented a lot with the visuals for the next Wii U game, and they found something that worked for Wind Waker. And I'm thinking also they probably experimented around with maybe things like sailing, but also like the Tingle tuner for
This
with the gamepad and
That's actually
multiplayer.
going to be interesting to use because like we no longer have Game Boys anymore. We have DSs,
Yeah.
3DSs. So like what are they going to do with that? Are we going to be able to like hook our 3DSs up to it like a wireless connection?
I don't.
That would actually be pretty
Maybe
neat.
it would
Yeah.
be. It would be really cool, and that's something that they talked about even with the Wii and the DS. They talked about
Hmm.
wireless functionality, but I don't think I ever saw a game using it, and I
See,
don't
No.
think I've seen a game use it for the 3DS. But
but
hopefully,
now there's Nintendo's chance to actually give it a try.
yeah.
Because don't
Then
forget like the 3DS also has like the motion control. So
yeah,
you could possibly like move Tingle around in places that you couldn't get to before. So that's actually going to be interesting. I personally have never used the Tingle Tuner because I didn't have a Game Boy Advance.
right,
So
Yeah, I never
right.
I'm
used
But
it
sure.
either.
it makes me wonder like how they're gonna do it with the controls, because you know the initial thought was that the second player can pick up the gamepad, and use it as the tingle tuner.
Yep.
Would the first player kind of use the Wii mode and motion control similar to the Wii version of Twilight Princess? But now it seems like it's just going to be standard button controls with the gamepad. So then, how's the Tingle Tuner? Are you going to be able to just do a single player Tingle Tuner with the touch
I
screen?
don't think that would work, but what about the Pro controller?
Probably.
Yeah, that could work.
That would
That
work. I
could
could
work.
see it working.
Ah, the Wii U has too many controllers. Okay, can we agree on this?
Yeah.
Yes. I think Nintendo stop with the controllers and actually just focus on one thing. One thing at
Yeah.
a time, Nintendo, please, for us.
All right. So, yeah, but let's say that let's say that Nintendo does bring out a lot of or not a lot, but let's say if they bring out some new content or some changes, like what would you want to see? Remember the press release that happened like last
Oh, you
week?
mean the fake press release?
Yeah, the fake press release
Yeah.
that people thought were real. With Nintendo, they were asking for feedback, like, hey, what would you want to see? Some of the things they mentioned was, added dungeons because they had to cut some dungeons.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah.
I felt like there were not enough dungeons in the game.
Yeah. I don't know. I play like when Ocarina of Time came out, they had a lot of dungeons, and I was happy about that, like the temples, and just going through that. That was fine. That was perfect. And then they kind of just like cut it a bit after Ocarina of Time. There was only like what was it in Majora's Mask? There was like the 4 areas,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then in Wind Waker there was what 5 top? No, 4.
No, well, 5 if you count the Tower of the Gods.
The 4 say
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, temples are a big thing for me because I like going through, I like exploring, and I like having the option to go through
Yeah.
the whole game. It's just
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I
a
can
way.
see that, but I would also say that like Twilight Princess had a lot of dungeons, but
Yeah.
not many of them were that like great or memorable. Like it was just like here's a lot of dungeons, go. But in the first half of Twilight Princess, they really took the time to focus on getting to the dungeons and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dungeons
But
were
see,
more
that
of a
was
big
also
event.
like the big deal. Like it took forever to get to a dungeon. Once you were there, it was like an hour and a half, like not even an hour to beat the dungeon.
Fine with me. I like the earlier half of Twilight Princess because in the second half, which is you can complete a dungeon, good. There's the next one, go. It's like okay.
I kind of actually like the way they mixed things up a little bit. So you had, they weren't typical dungeons where you sort of go underground or they're temples. We had like the house, and we had, Hyrule Castle.
Yes.
You could consider
Yeah.
that a dungeon. I thought that was cool. It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like Twilight Princess did it right when it came to Hyrule Castle. I will agree there. That was just absolutely like mind blown. But I do like the when you walked into Hyrule Castle, I liked the court, the court, not the what's it called? Like the moment you walked in to the courtroom, it was too big. I felt like they could have like made it a bit smaller in a way because it just like you got to the bottom half, like you started out on the bottom half, and then it was too big. It took forever to actually get to the next one, and there were like so many rooms that you had to go through. I don't know. That's just me. If that makes sense in any way, shape, or form.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess that dungeon was a bit. It wasn't perfect, but I don't know. I wasn't bothered by it or anything.
Like it's when you got to like the top half, right before you got to Ganon. It got harder. It was interesting. Like that one part where you had to use
Yeah.
the spinner.
Okay. I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
I see what you mean now. Yeah.
Yeah. To get round.
Oh, the spinner.
Sorry.
That was the best item ever. They
Cody,
should
if
bring
you
that
have to
back.
cut that. Oh my god. I love that item so much. Aperture Grounds was like my favorite temple. That was
Yes.
the
Yeah,
best.
that
I
boss
had fun
battle
with the
was the
spinner.
most fun I have ever had.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a great boss battle.
That was.
So, yeah. Well, getting back to Wind Waker for a second.
Whoops.
They also talked about dungeons that were cut, but and also one thing that people want was difficulty mode, which
Yeah.
I support that a lot.
I do too. Wind Waker was just
Yeah.
way too easy.
It was. I don't think I died even once on my first playthrough, and it was like unacceptable.
I think I
Unacceptable.
died, but I think I like accidentally jumped off a cliff with like 2 hearts remaining and just died. So.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing with the difficulty settings is, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the design of, let's say, the bosses, right? Because in the Wind Waker, they used the Ocarina of Time format where, dungeon item to stun, hack and slash, weak point, rinse and repeat 3 times.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the bosses were like that.
Yeah.
And that's not something that's going to get much different, even with the difficulty setting. In Skyward Sword, for instance, bosses were well, a bit different. Not all of them.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no.
I haven't played. I haven't played, so it's kind
I'm
of
just
like a
gonna say
spoiler alert
okay.
to me.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, I see. Let me just say that the bosses are different. They're not all the same way. Like some of them you can beat the bosses, you can damage them in different
Yeah.
ways.
Mhm.
And they're a lot better designed. It's not like, oh, okay, here's a dungeon item, la la la, I know exactly what to do. It's not
Yeah.
exactly like that in Skyward Sword. So
So it's
the
a completely
design of the
different mindset.
bosses
Yeah.
mean a lot for difficulty.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do have things like I think this is a good example. It's in Twilight Princess, where I think in the final battle against Ganondorf, when he hits you, I think his hits just take like half a heart or a quarter of a
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, give me a challenge, right? So
Yeah.
for those instances, definitely have a difficulty mode where enemies might be a bit faster or a bit stronger,
It
a
takes
bit
time
tougher
to
or
like
whatever,
actually
right?
kill, for example.
Say what?
I think they should take more time to actually because I think it's like, I don't know, 5-6 minutes for an enemy to be defeated in Zelda games. I think we should have I don't know, expand that to 10 minutes. Because
10 minutes for an enemy to be
yeah,
defeated? What?
like the hits, up the hits to kill the enemy. If that, I need Cody, cut this.
Yeah.
You mean 10 hits, not 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, have more hits. There we go.
Yes. It's like, who fights an enemy for 10 minutes?
I know.
Cody,
It's like
cut this.
lucky if it's 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, but thing, for one, like in Wind Waker, once you get the Master Sword, I mean, the moblins fall in like one combo, successful combo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think what you could do is have some moblins put armor on them and make them tougher or something, right?
Well, that's right. Just more hits, essentially.
Yeah.
And one other thing I'll say is less recovery hearts as well. I mean, I never really cared if I took
Yeah.
damage because I didn't take much. And even if I did, I could recover it pretty shortly afterwards. So, damage was really not a big deal at all.
Yeah, and these are things. I mean, these are just simple coding things that won't take a
Yeah.
lot of effort to actually implement. I mean, coding
sure.
difficulty settings
Yeah.
and doing things like heart frequency, damage taken, damage given. I mean, those are super simple to code.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think Nintendo's gonna do much. And why do I think that? It's just they didn't do it with Ocarina of Time. They barely did anything. I was hoping hey, give us the the light temple, the light dungeon that was originally supposed to be in the game, or give us a new master quest.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But they or a new item or something. But they didn't really do anything. Like a few touch-ups, a few changes that were neat. But it wasn't much. It wasn't not much to really make it a true remake with upgrades and everything. It was just, here it is, bit better graphics, a few touch-ups, and it's done. And I think Wind Waker's gonna sell regardless. I don't think there's much motivation to really give it that big of an upgrade. But hopefully
Yeah.
they will.
Well,
I
we'll
hope
just
so
have
too,
to wait
yeah.
and see. Yeah.
Yeah, so this cast, the message of this cast is basically, Nintendo, you do some good stuff, you do some bad stuff.
Nintendo smarten up is the message of this podcast.
Yes, do everything right, not just some things. Do everything right. Be
Don't
the
turn
best
into
company.
Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo, because you're starting to go down that path. Stop.
More hater comments.
I'm sorry.
More hater comments. Go.
I'm sorry. Oh, you want hate comments? Well, I'm not actually going to start in on them. Not today. Maybe another day.
All right. Do you have anything else to say before we wrap up?
Nothing that I can think of. I think I basically covered everything I wanted to talk about in Wind Waker.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Then let's just wrap up.
Do you want to?
All right, I think
Okay,
we're
yeah, we'll
gonna.
wrap it up.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up this at this point. It's been a decent length cast, and I hope that you viewers have enjoyed it. We are, this is the first video podcast. We're gonna do them every 2 weeks for starters, and so next time is gonna be right before E3. So that's gonna be our pre-E3 cast. So since this is a new format, we really appreciate your feedback, and also what we want to do is, for the next cast, we want you to leave your suggestions on what we can talk about. So,
Yeah, I mean, now that we're
hit the comment
expanding into
sections.
video, we can come up with some ideas for segments. So if there's something that you'd like to see us do, let us know.
Don't be
Yeah.
afraid. We do listen. So yell,
Maybe
scream
you
at
do,
us.
but I don't.
Do whatever. We're here.
Yeah. All right. So, Gruce out.
Gruce? You're Gruce now?
Gruce? We're gruising? Is this what's happening? We're actually gruising?
It's the people who watch our Skyward Sword Let's Play will know, and they will laugh.
Yeah.
See, I've just watched.
See,
Yeah.
so you need to get in on these inside jokes by watching our content.
Shona, do you even know what's going on? Because I certainly don't anymore.
I do, because I was part of the Let's Play as well.
Yeah.
We just need Cody here to make another Gruce joke.
Cody,
Yeah.
Insert a little video.
Did you know that the name Hyrule is corruption of Bruce's famous saying, I rule? Do you know that the rain is the tears of Bruce, who's sad that people fight? Did you know that Loftwings first appeared when Bruce's soaring spirit first believed in humanity?
Okay, post your Gruce jokes in the comments.
Yeah, we'll read out the best one on the next podcast.
That's a promise.
Dan, don't break your promise.
Alright, guys. See you next time. I'm Amadou Mundo, your one and only man of world. Over and out.
Shona out. Bye.
Tessie out. Later, G's.
You guys are so lame.